Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? How does that sound, Carrie? Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Regina Crawford. I'm the first Vice President for the NAACP Ventura County Chapter. I'm going to go over a few things of the position of the NAACP. And so I'm speaking on behalf of John R. Hatcher III, the NAACP Ventura County Chapter. For the record, I want everyone to know, first of all, none of the candidates did not contact us. We do not represent them. Everything that's solely being said is from the NAACP Ventura County Chapter. I also wanted to add into this that this is not a black and white issue, because I've been getting telephone calls where people are saying that this is a race issue. The NAACP is 105 years old. We're the oldest, largest civil rights organization in the world. We defend the rights of everybody, regardless of your color or your race. For the purpose of this press conference, we wanted to ensure that all the candidates were given a fair opportunity when they applied for this position. On November 19, 2013, in order for that to happen, we had sent a letter to Mayor Tim Flynn asking him to have a fair, transparent process. Included in our suggestions, we suggested that the mayor look at community leaders, neighborhood watch leaders, and other community people to be on the panel. We told him that we felt that this would give everybody a chance, and plus as stakeholders, a vested interest in the city manager's position. Because as you know, the city manager position can do certain things that maybe we can't. So it's an executive position. So we were calling for transparency. On March 27th, an article came out in the Star Free Press, and we had noted that the mayor said that the process was transparent, but we were surprised that at that point he already had selected 2 candidates. So at that point, we're thinking it couldn't possibly be transparent when in each one of your minutes it shows that it was a closed session. So that was one of the questions that we had raised. In picking the candidates, we had found out that there was over 50 candidates that had applied. The consultant only selected 12. The next question that came up to us was, okay, we have a woman that's been sitting in this position for 2 years, but she didn't even get an interview. We thought that was a little odd. Another thing was that out of 54 candidates, you interviewed 12, and of the 12, only 2 of them you felt were highly qualified. The gentleman from Modesto and the young lady from Santa Barbara. Based on the information that we read in the paper, the young lady, Mrs. Waller, will automatically default because she had just recently turned down a job in Orange County. So we knew at that point that Oxnard had no intentions of paying her $275K or so a year for the city manager's position. That was one of the reasons why she had turned down the position. So we knew at that point that the gentleman from Modesto would get the job by default. We're not saying that he is not a good candidate. I'm sure he's a great city manager. But is he a great city manager for the city of Oxnard? Is one of our questions. The next thing that we had noticed that in the Modesto B, that he already had told his employers that he was seeking another position, and he had been up to Oxnard 3 times visiting Oxnard. We kind of felt that was kind of interesting because it seemed like he's already set up household. It was uncharacteristic of anybody who's just applied for a job to already start seeking where he's going to live. So in this, the NAACP is clearly looking for transparency. What we propose to the city of Oxnard is to postpone the hiring of the city manager till January 2015. At this time, there will be probably a new city council, or the city council may be re-elected. We don't know. But it should give the city council and the mayor time to inform this community what were the defined criteria of selecting a city manager. Not, next year, in the article on February 27th, next year, if we ever do this again, we may let the public in on this. That was not satisfactory. So I'm going to let a couple of other gentlemen speak. And the first gentleman I'm going to call is Reverend Ralph James. And he's going to have some comments. And then after that, Mr. Hatcher, the president, will be speaking.
First of all, good afternoon. I find that living in Oxnard, there are many opportunities where you have to come before the city and especially the city council to address a lot of issues that don't get addressed. It hasn't made me a very popular person there, but I don't care. The people of Oxnard deserve the most qualified city manager. There's a hole in the heart of this city. There's a hole in the heart of this city. And that old song says, take a little piece of my heart. That's what it feels like to a lot of people as they have been able to observe what has been going on and the issues surrounding interim city manager Karen Burnham and her inability to even get an interview. All the people of Oxnard deserve the most qualified city manager. And the decisions and actions that were taken by the mayor and the city council have created a groundswell of emotions, questions, reactions about the resident. Anger, outrage, disbelief, and confirmations. Question 1. How is it that Mrs. Karen Burnham, who served faithfully as the interim city manager for over 2 years, yet was unceremoniously and without fanfare not granted the courtesy of a token interview? She did submit her application. Yes, she did submit her application. That seemed to be an issue for some people. They didn't know whether she submitted her application. Yes, she did. And in doing so, she was submitting an application to compete for the full-time position. Question number 2. Was this decision decided long ago before the hiring process began? Did the board decide a long time ago whether they want to select Karen Burnham or not? I think they decided a long time ago because there's been a continual orchestrated presentations by individuals for the council for the last 2 years or so, where people came in and offered character assassinations. They were trying to devalue her in any way that they could. At the time would come when she was up for a job that most people would not want to consider it in their mind. Question 3. It's 2014. Is Oxnard a city governed by a mayor, a council that is mentally and ideally trapped in history and lost in time and is yearning for a bygone era long since past? You know, people talk about the good old days. Well, the good old days were not good for everybody. We don't want to go back. We want to go forward. She was good enough to be the interim city manager, but she wasn't good enough to be the permanent city manager. Ms. Burnham's many years of highly competent and professional executive experience doesn't seem to matter with this council. They say they have 2 applicants who can come into the largest city in Ventura County, and they're going to be able to hit the ground running as the new permanent city manager. I'd like to present a little reality check. It is going to take at least a year, and who is going to assist them in their mentoring and learning curve? Not the mayor, not the council. Can you name a knowledgeable potential candidate with extensive knowledge of the day-to-day operations of the city and can get the job done, and who has been getting it done? Hint, hint. She is into her 3rd year as interim city manager. I want to know, as many others do in this city want to know, is what was the vote that decided that Sister Karen Burnham would not be even given an interview? Was it a 3-2 vote? Was it a 4-1 vote? Or was it a 5-0 vote? I want to know how to vote in November, as many other people I will be talking to. The mayor and the council must own their decisions they made, and they must give an account to the people of Oxnard, all the people. I pray that God will continually bless this city, because things are going to get better, going to get worse before they get better. There's November looming. We got there's an election for a new mayor, election for 2 new council members, and it is incumbent upon every citizen in this county to get in this city to get involved, to vote, attend council meetings, and let your voice be heard, whether it be popular or unpopular, because this city belongs to all of us. And we need to have a city manager that's going to do the best job. And I think Karen Burnham is one person who could do an excellent job. And one other last thing I would like to say is that if we get these 2 new people, you know, when there's a change in the top, there's lots of people who leave. So you can be for sure that if one of these other 2 people come, people are going to leave. And some of the people who might be leaving are those that have the highest level of institutional knowledge. And that would be a great loss to this city. So it's more than just this issue of the hiring process. It's for how this city is going to be run in the years to come effectively, because it has some real challenges ahead. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to introduce Byron Ward, and he's going to be representing BayPAC CAC. Byron Ward.
Thank you, Regina. I just want to say that as a advocacy-based organization, both BayPAC and CAC support efforts like this to increase the transparency and the accountability for our elected officials. And this particular issue, I think, is very important to bring it to the surface and to get some answers. Thank you.
Okay, John R. Hatcher III, NAACP Vice President, oops, will be speaking. So used to introducing myself, that's why.
See your face in here.
Good afternoon, everyone. You notice she wanted to downgrade me to vice president. As president, I strongly feel that the process that was given by the city for the selectees was not properly handled. Can you go in a room with 54 people and come out with 2, 3, or 12 in an hour and a half? So it means that they had already pre-selected the ones that they wanted to come up with. And that pre-selection is what we are disappointed about, because Karen has been doing that job for 2 years. And there's no way you can tell me that she was doing the job for 2 years and not be counted, not even get the recognition. And so that's what we are upset about. At least she should have got recognition. Maybe she didn't get the job, but she should have got recognition for that. And my feeling is that we don't want to call nobody racist, but what does it look like to you? You can take it from my word. I think it was a racist move. So we didn't call nobody racist. I just said it was a racist move. And being it was racist, we got to make sure when we vote, we need to take a look at those people who are representing us, who have racist tendencies. And I think it's very disappointing that that young lady spent 2 years working her heart out, keeping the city together, and couldn't even get a recognition. So I don't want to tie your time up too long because someone else needs to say something, but I want to say this to all of you. When something like this happens, we all should get involved. We all should make our voice heard. And that's why we are here today. I am, as president of Ventura County NAACP, will often and anytime I can get up and say something. I know that the mayor had a problem with Karen because he had to apologize to her for a comment he made. In addition to that, every time they had a meeting, he would have something negative to say to her. And so that says to me right then that he wasn't going to pick her, or he had intentions of doing what he did. Thank you very much.
Okay, we call this press conference, and I think it's only fair to allow the press to have one question, and we'll try to best answer it as best as we can. Oh, Lonnie McCowan's going to be speaking. Okay. I know you have a lot of. What we would like to see is have the hiring process postponed to January 2015. That would give the city council time to be transparent. Instead of saying you're transparent, be transparent. So give the community, the people of the city of Oxnard, what was the criteria of selecting the city manager. We don't want to just jump into a city manager. Anyone else has a question?
Do you want it to start over again, or just suspend it?
We want to postpone it and suspend it
With this group of candidates?
with a group of 54 candidates. Yes, sir.
Oxnard has a black police chief, black fire chief, black head librarian, former black mayor, black head of housing, which doesn't seem like discrimination to me, so I was kind of surprised to hear that.
Okay, let me correct one more thing. The mayor wasn't black. She was acting. So Irene Pinker was not ever the mayor.
I'd like to tell you a story. Over 3 years ago, when I retired, and came to Oxnard and I got involved in city government, I began to see a pattern of people who would come down and speak at council meetings, and they were people who were in certain council members' campaign, and it was just like a clockwork. They would come and say what their negatives, and they would leave. And it was a very orchestrated attempt of character assassination and devaluing her. And the ultimate goal, as some people had said, one day I was outside of the chambers. They looked at the wall and they didn't know I was there. They looked at the wall and they saw all these previous council members who were not people of color and said, wouldn't it be nice to return to the good old days? That struck a nerve with me. And as I looked back then, I saw Karen Burnham as assistant city manager. As a city manager, the city manager hires all those people. But if she's not here and you hire someone new who was a rubber stamp of who you want and been handpicked, I would say all of those people that you just mentioned should be looking over their shoulders. And not only those people who happen to be African American, but there are many women who work for this city who catch a lot of hell from this council. Even to the point where the executive managers have gone about wanting to establish their own union. And that's because of the way they get treated by the council. They get no respect, they get bullied, and I even spoke of that. And that's why all this is going on. It's not just what you see now. This is a plan. This started a long time ago. And this city would look completely different if certain people had their way, even with some of the previous council members who were here.
Did you want Mr. James? Okay. Any other questions? Anyone else have any other questions? Okay. This concludes our press conference. This was more about information and awareness for the community The NAACP, like I said, is 105 years old. Our members are multi-diversity of color. We're not just only a black organization. We represent everybody. So in our attempt, we had hoped that the mayor would have reached out when we sent the letter so that we can have that open dialogue. It seemed to be for the NAACP that this was like the elephant in the room and nobody wanted to address it. So we felt a need to address it. Thank you for coming. If you'd like to leave your cards with Stacy Looney, she would be able to get back in contact with you. And if you wanted a copy of the letter that we sent to the mayor, we'll be happy to send it to you. Thank you.